question. How are we affording life right now?
It's to a point where people can't live. This amounted to $100. This isn't even barely anything to feed me for a couple days.
We have done so many things wrong in this country to get where we're at. That's just the truth. We've done so many things wrong. And it's taken years, it's taken decades to get to the point. But again, early on, you start to look at some of the things that have happened and the trajectory of where it all is heading. And something inside of you says, this isn't right. But then you have to focus on what the end goal of all of this is and what that trajectory is leading to. And you've got to figure out a way to prepare and say, I've got to do something. I've got to be able to do something to safeguard myself and safeguard my family and get through what has obviously repeated itself time after time after time over the course of all of human history. So this last week, there was an article that was put out. And it was put out by the Discern Report. And this is a Mike Adams Health Ranger publication. If you search for a title of something that's on that website on Google, you won't find it because it's censored. I mean, you can, normally if there's something put out by a publication that's, viewed by a lot of people, if you type in the title exactly into Google, it'll come up. But no, those publications are specifically censored. Over at thediscernreport.com, it says, can you feel it? 10 signs that things in America have reached a breaking point. If you're listening to what the American people are saying right now, across the political spectrum, people are reaching a breaking point and are fed up with life under the Biden regime. From being unable to afford groceries or gas, to watching powerful corporations promote pedophilia and child mutilations, events that were once unimaginable are becoming commonplace, and the officials in power seem more disconnected from the plight of everyday people than ever before. So there was that song that came out, I mentioned it in another video, of Oliver Anthony and the rich men north of Richmond. And this came out, it went immediately viral. It got 50 million views all over the internet. I think the last time I checked it on YouTube, it was at 18 or close to 20 million or something like that. 18 million. So it went completely viral, and it had a message in it of someone who was just very, very angry. And it's got some curse words in it. It's a country song. And it's just, people resonated with that because they're ticked off and they've had enough. And this is why, yes, people are angry. But you know what, really, the reason we're here, the reason we keep getting here and nothing gets done is because of complacency, like I'm about to show you now. Over at ChristianityToday.com, it says Oliver Anthony's viral hit doesn't love its neighbors. In other words, the article basically breaks this song down and says it was too mean. I would submit to you that he didn't go far enough. I mean, you can tell the dude is totally angry. He's upset. And the reason it's viral is because so many people feel the way he does. But I would submit that he didn't go far enough. I would submit, there was things in this song, I'm like, why didn't he mention this? Why didn't he mention that? There's so many things you could have mentioned about reasons to be ticked off. But, he did his thing. And still, Christianity Today, these loving, tolerant Christians are out there saying, oh, well, he was a little mean when it came to people, who are overweight and using tax dollars to buy their junk food. That's what an angry thing to do. I'm like, yes, it's angry because it shouldn't be done. If you're, 300 pounds and you're using tax dollars to buy your junk food, you're in the wrong. Why is that so? Why shouldn't you not say that? I mean, we've gotten to a point where tolerance has gotten us to the point of insanity because we need to be tolerant. This is not what the Bible teaches. Let's go back to our article over at Discern Report. 10 signs, starting with number 1, the lawless Democrats are drunk with power and are making a mockery of the rule of law. Absolutely, there is a complete double standard in our country right now. If someone does this and they're a Democrat, they get away with it. If someone does this and you're a Republican, you go to jail or you get indicted. All right, let's go to number 2. America's cities are collapsing into violence, mental illness, shoplifting, and ruin. Things are so bad in America's collapsing cities that one enterprising individual is now selling doom loop walking tours in San Francisco. According to the promotional material, when you join the tour, we will view the open-air drug markets, the abandoned tech offices, the outpost of the nonprofit industrial complex, and the deserted department stores. I saw another article this week. It was Cannibal Tribe. This was from Papua New Guinea. A cannibal tribe eats thieves as punishment, devouring everything apart from penises. We need to get a whole bunch of these guys. We need to talk about immigration. Take these guys and bring them over, into America and let them loose into San Francisco and maybe the department stores. You can even put a few of these guys at each department store. Put them at the entrance. And, if someone walks out, you just grab them and, have a barbecue nearby and, just put them on the spit. This stuff will stop quick, fast, and in a hurry. The reason you have rampant lawlessness is because nobody is willing to enforce the law. It's that simple. You start enforcing the law, you start, dealing with these thieves and robbers and rapists and murderers the way thieves, robbers, rapists, and murderers ought to be dealt with, then you won't have as much. That's just the way it is. And today we don't have the ability, we don't have the manhood, we don't have the cojones to deal with evil the way it needs to be dealt with. And that's because of people like Christianity today who want to promote tolerance. Tolerance. Well, maybe they're stealing just because they're hungry. Maybe they're stealing that new $400 blouse out of Lehman Marcus because they just want to feel special. And it's okay to feel special. It's that kind of insanity that has to be gutted like a cancer and tossed into the fire. Like these people from Papua New Guinea do. Number 3, the corporations are going insane with virtue signaling like Skittles candy, promoting Black Trans Lives Matter propaganda. All of this insanity. Bud Light is suffering. Target is suffering. Skittles. I'm not buying Skittles anymore. I don't like all the chemicals they now put in their candies anyway. But all right, going down to number 4, more and more Americans are waking up to the theft by inflation caused by Biden's never-ending money printing, and they are angry. I'm telling you guys, we are headed for massive hyperinflation. There's no way out of this. They said years ago, if we have to drop money by helicopter, we will. That's what they're going to do. You can't raise interest rates anymore. If they do, the interest rate on our debt is now over the budget of our entire military. Banks are collapsing. They can keep raising interest rates if they want to, but at some point they're going to have to stop, and the only reverse of that is going to be inflation, and it's going to result in massive hyperinflation. I'm just using what I have seen throughout history to come to that conclusion. Number 5, it's now obvious that the 2020 election was, I can't say that, and the Biden regime completely ignores whatever court rulings it doesn't like. Guys, there will never be another conservative, right-leaning president. Okay, and this whole thing with Trump is to make sure you understand, don't you ever, ever, ever challenge what we say the result is again. Because if you do, you're going to end up in jail or indicted. Number 6, false flag operations being run against the American people are getting sloppy and obvious. Oh, man, I don't even want to know. Listen, I'm watching all the stuff about Hawaii, and I'm hearing the stories about people who live there coming out, and people who said that they saw people starting the fires. I don't know if any of that's true. I have a long-standing slogan that I have held to since I was in the military, and it is believe none of what you hear and only half of what you see. And that holds true, especially today. So I don't know what's going on, but it's a lot of weird stuff, and I'll just leave it at that. Number 7, pedophilia is fully embraced by Democrats and the left. That's obviously true. We saw that with Target. We saw that with all this in the library reading, all of this insanity. It's absolutely crazy where things are today. Up is down, left is right is wrong. We are living in the last days. Number 8, the climate cult has expanded into globally shared mental illness. Absolutely. They are going to control you. They're going to force you to live into 15-minute cities. They're going to do everything. That's one of the things the song was mentioning that Oliver Anthony talked about. The people who live the Richmond, north of Richmond, want total control. You know it and I know it. That's what his song says. And that's one of the reasons so many people resonated with it. They can see that the control is getting tighter and tighter and tighter, and they're using climate as a way to do that. Number 9, the development of depopulation bioweapons continues to be funded by the U.S. government. Again, this gets into the whole, it says right here, mad science experiments. I don't know. It's crazy, but a lot of this seems true. We talk, hey, listen, meat allergies, alpha-gal, this right here. There is so much evidence that this is engineered. And guys, I'm telling you right now, if you're a homesteader like I am, you guys need to get guinea hens. And I know some of these people. Oh, but Zach, guinea hens are loud. They're annoying. Cry me a river. Do you want to be able to wake up one day and try to have a steak and then you get sick from eating red meat? Ticks are out there. There are so many tick-borne illnesses, and it's on the increase. Is it engineered? I don't know. Talk about tinfoil hats. I don't know. But it's getting crazy out there. I'm hearing about this more and more and more, and I'll give you a heads up. If you do have alpha-gal, or if you know someone who has a tick-borne illness and suffering from it, the one thing, and they say you can't be cured. It can be cured. It's called astaxanthin. 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 Google it, look it up, find it. The best place I know to buy it is a place called Valasta.net. It's made in America. It is expensive. You can find cheaper alternatives out there, but I know the one at Valasta is made in America. Astaxanthin, yes, you can cure alpha-gal. Yes, you can cure these tick-borne diseases. Astaxanthin is the way to do it. It's an all-natural product created by a plant called algae. Maybe you've heard of it. All right, let's go on to number 10. And finally, number 10, it's finally becoming undeniable that the USA, NATO, and Ukraine have lost the war with Russia. And they're talking about all of the videos out there now showing that this equipment, that the tanks that these Western countries, including us, have been completely destroyed by the Russian military. And I'm a former Bradley driver. I drove a Bradley in the military. A Bradley is a very, very effective vehicle on the battlefield if it's put into competent hands. But it takes time for those soldiers to be trained on that equipment. You just can't put people in a, multi-million-dollar piece of equipment and let them run down the battlefield and think they're going to destroy their enemies because it's a technologically advanced piece of equipment. It is, but you've got to be trained on this, and that takes months, if not years of training. I was in the military for one enlistment, and really it took me that entire enlistment, maybe half of that enlistment, to be really comfortable with the Bradley, a year and a half, or more, to be really comfortable with the position they put me in and to be able to operate and do my job effectively. These Bradleys they sent over just were slaughtered. What a waste of American equipment. We're in deep trouble, folks. We're in deep trouble. Anyway, this article came out. I thought it was, number one, fascinating that all of these things were put into one article and they're all true. And number two, that article and its website is completely censored today on the most used search engine that the world uses. It's completely censored. Batten down the hatches, folks. This is one of the reasons why I tell people, get your family, find a hole, and crawl down in it. Because the thing is, the collapse is going to happen. We are in the middle of a collapse, and the best way to get to the other side is to stay out of sight, out of mind, be the great man. And build up a network of people where you can trade and barter with locally, get in low population density areas, and just prepare for what's coming, because it's coming. All right, guys. Hey, check out our merchandise, teespring.com. You can find our best-selling shirt, Stupid Should Hurt. If we had more hurt in this world, we'd have an awful, awful lot less stupid. It's a crazy world we live in. But you can find it, link in the description below. And I'll see you next time on The Homestead. Bye!
This is Grandma. Grandma survived the Great Depression. She survived the Great Depression because her supply chain was local and she knew how to do stuff. Grandma was smart. Grandma told us to make do with what you got. She also said, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Homesteading is all about self-reliance and declaring ourselves to be independent from the system. We grow our own food, we raise our own animals, and doing these things helps safeguard our families from the unpredictable world that surrounds us. But what about banking? I love being my own power company, but what about being my own bank? Right now, our country is over $30 trillion in debt and rising. The Fed keeps printing money, and the Congress won't stop spending money. Staying attached to the modern banking system and their investment vehicles is like putting all of your eggs in one very, very fragile basket. On one side, you have the threat of inflation and your savings value floating away. And the other side is a possible deflationary stock market collapse, just like what happened in the 1930s. Genesis Gold Group is like a basket holding eggs, and these eggs are impossible to break. History shows us that all paper investments have and will return to their intrinsic value eventually. Zero. But gold, silver, and other precious metals have never, ever been worthless. In every collapse throughout history, people have turned back to precious metals to find monetary value. If you have a 401k, an IRA, or a savings account where you're literally watching the purchasing power inflate away, give Genesis Gold Group a call right now. Today, this instant. They can develop a strategy for you in the days ahead. I can tell you how I raise sheep, I can tell you how I raise chickens, or the best way to grow tomatoes, or how to hook up a solar panel. But Genesis Gold Group is your best shot at safeguarding your hard-earned savings and investments during this increasingly turbulent time in history. The link and phone number is in the description below, or visit their website at genesisgoldgroup.com. And be sure to say you heard about them from An American Homestead. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of An American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.